to it. So listen, when what is happening with a narcissist, the longer you're no contact and the longer you don't answer the Hoover. Well, for one thing, they do have another supply. Let's just go ahead and understand that, whether the supply is family or whether the supply is outside of family, we must know that they got a supply. Okay, that's cool. I mean, you know that you already knew that was going to be. You already knew that was going to happen. All right. So now that we've established that, what you have to understand about not answering a Hoover is this. A Hoover is meant to do just what it is, to suck you back into the relationship. Okay? A narcissist is in a race against time.
Everybody wants to know what happens to the narcissist after you leave. That's why these videos get millions upon millions of views. But I think we're asking the wrong question. Because the moment you're healing depends on whether they're suffering, they're still controlling your attention. Maybe not your phone, maybe not your house, but definitely your mind. Today I want to go much deeper than psychology. I want to talk to you about consciousness.
A narcissist is in a race against time. Why do you say that, T? They're in a race against time because they know that it's only going to be a matter of time, fam, before your emotions are going to disconnect from them. That's what they don't want. Okay? That's what they don't want. They don't want your emotions to disconnect from them.
This is probably the most important thing she says in the entire video. Not because I know what another person is feeling. No, none of us truly do. But because she accidentally points to something much bigger. Your emotions are the bridge between you and every experience in your life. They're not just connected to another person. They're connected to the version of yourself that existed with that person. That's why letting go hurts. You're grieving who you were. And until you understand that, you'll keep trying to solve an inner problem with an outer person.
It's an emotional bond and tie to the narcissist, which calls it listen, y'all heard what I said, an emotional bond and tie. So, i.e., a soul tie. That's what they are. It's a soul tie. And so they're tied to your soul through trauma, usually. Because when you got with the narcissist, you start having conversation with them about what was going on, all of these different things, right? Most of the time when we are connecting with toxic individuals, okay, it's going to be through an emotional toxic exchange. You know, we're talking about the toxic stories that we have experienced, you know, all of these different things. And the narcissist is waiting to hear that. They want to know, what happened? Was your story the same as mine? And so they were telling you everything that they went through. You're telling them everything that you went through. And guess what? You have no way of verifying whether what they're saying is true or not. You don't have a way of verifying that. You just met this bird. You don't even know him. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what they're saying to you is true. It could be a complete lie. Guess what? The narcissist is not going to tell you one way or the other. They're just trying to find a common ground with you so they can go ahead and, put their hooks in there.
Here's why I'd like to take this a bit deeper. See, I always hear people say, they got their hooks in me. Maybe. But why were there hooks to grab onto in the first place? That's the question that changes your life. You see, the ego doesn't just attach to people. It attaches to stories. I finally found someone who understands me. I finally found my soulmate. I finally found my home. The attachment wasn't to the human. The attachment was to the identity you built around them. Break the identity, and the attachment begins dissolving on its own.
Because narcissists are professional victims. Yeah. They are. They're professional victims. So what you gonna do about that? When I say professional victim, I'm talking about everybody did everything to them. And so that's the same game that they're going to play with you. So the longer you are not responding to that Hoover, the longer you are no contact. What is happening with the narcissist? They panicking. They are going nuts.
Maybe not. Some people absolutely go crazy. Some people absolutely spiral after rejection. But guess what? Others don't. But here's something that doesn't depend on guessing what another person feels. If you're constantly checking whether they are hurting, guess what? You are still emotionally invested. Notice how subtle that is. You see, revenge, even revenge, that's attachment. Wanting justice can become attachment. Even wanting them to finally realize what they lost is attachment. The thing is, freedom does not begin when they hurt. Freedom begins when you no longer need to know.
They're trying to pull you back into that vortex of abuse. You know, they're trying to pull you back into the lineup, pull you back into the harem, because that's what they got. Yeah, that's what they got. These birds are always running around trying to get new supply. But let's not mistake one thing. One thing that you don't need to be mistaken about is the fact that the main supply is supposed to stay the main supply. Why? Everything hinges off of you. I told you all that before. Everything hinges off of the main supply, right?
Whether that's true in every relationship is not even the point. Here's the thing that really matters. Every unhealthy relationship has a center of gravity. It pulls you back into old thinking, old reactions, old identities, old emotional loops. You think you're trying to leave another person. What you're really trying to leave is a version of yourself that only existed around them. That's why healing feels like dying, because psychologically something is dying. The identity. Not you.
The longer you remain no contact, yeah, you put them in a state of shock. Yeah. Are they over there feeling it? Yes, absolutely. You know, are they over there dealing with whatever they got to deal with? Yeah, they are. But one thing that you need to understand is it affecting them? Absolutely. They over there melting down, treating the family like trash, the kids, the new supply, everybody else. Everybody gonna get it, because they're not getting what they need.
Here's the final thought. I don't actually care what they're doing. Not because I'm cold, no. But because it's irrelevant. The moment your peace depends on another person's emotional state, they still own a part of your life. Real freedom isn't silence to punish someone. It's silence because you become too valuable to abandon yourself ever again. That is what sovereignty looks like. That is what becoming uncaged looks like. If this video helps shift your perspective, don't just heal from the person. No. Heal from the identity that needed the person, because that is where real freedom begins. I'm Tony Victory, and this is A Wolf Uncaged. If you found something in this video that sparked a thought, shifted your perspective, or just made you feel more grounded, consider showing some love by buying me a coffee. It helps fuel the channel, keeps the uploads coming, and lets me know that the content matters to you. The link's right below in the description or on my channel banner. No pressure, just appreciation if you're moved to support. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I am Tony Victory, a wolf uncaged. Thank you. Peace.